was reflecting earlier today on how there seems to be two kind of major focal points on spiritual journeys that people are taking. One is humility, and the other is power. And by humility, I mean various perspectives expressed by teachers like Eckhart, Tolle, and Pema, Chodron, these kinds of teachers that are not really concerned with what you accomplish or acquire in this lifetime, and that by, focusing on yourself and your sense of inner peace, that's the major purpose of your spiritual journey and those perspectives. And the power-based perceptions, I think that perspectives like The Secret, Law of Attraction Materials, Abraham-Hicks, What the Bleep Do We Know, these are about how we can influence our life and our situation. And the teachers in one realm tend to have a focus that doesn't really concern the other realm. But I was reflecting earlier today on these two perspectives, and do they fit together? If so, how do they fit together? Or do you have to basically make a choice and walk one path or the other? Or perhaps you are here, so to speak, to walk one path or the other. And I believe that the resolution that came to me is that they both are mutually compatible. And as an analogy, it's kind of like the yin-yang symbol. I believe that humility can be thought of as the yin, and the power can be thought of as the yang. It is important to recognize what you're capable of achieving and align that with your purpose. If you have a purpose, but you've just basically checked out of life through withdrawal, through, just saying, none of it really matters, this is all temporary, life is short, blah, 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 I'm just going to live simply. Maybe you're here to live simply, but maybe there's certain things that you're here to achieve or accomplish in terms of alignment with your purpose. And so you can use ideas like retreat, meditation, and just keeping to yourself in terms of your thoughts and ideas and voice. You can say that's part of your spiritual path, but perhaps you're kind of thwarting what you're here to do by doing that. So I think there's by paying attention to concepts about what you can attract and how you attract different experiences and what would be ideal for you, there's an empowerment that comes along with that. And so I think it's best to just find inside of yourself what you're here to do, and then use whatever tools you have available to you to achieve that. And obviously, not everyone is here to write a really popular book or two like Eckhart Tolle. There's no need for as many big impact teachers as there are people, obviously. But we all have our purpose, and I think that the world is going to be changed not by one or two or three Messiah figures, but by many of us, thousands, millions of us, choosing to make the shift away from a consumer material-based kind of focus towards purpose and peace. And I also feel the last presidential election in the United States taught me that it is very important, or not so much taught me as illustrated this point, it's very important to allow yourself to let money into your life if you are a person who is on a spiritual path. And I used the presidential election of Obama and who was he running? McCain. And to illustrate that if the Republicans, the conservatives, which represent a kind of old paradigm desire, and the you know, keeping the status quo and that kind of thing, and opposing freedoms such as what you do with your body if you're a woman, that kind of thing like that. If they have all the money, then they are going to be able to promote themselves better and win elections. But since Obama didn't have any problem with money, I think he's a spiritual person and very self-aware, and he didn't have any problems with attracting money, and is very well organized and allowed the yang elements that were necessary to win and have greater influence. And the world right now is better off, much better off, for Obama being president as opposed to McCain being president. And he's also humble, and I think he's a good role model for the topic of this video of humility and power and how to get them to work together, because it's tempting, if you are able to understand how to create a life that you want and attract the experiences that you want, it's tempting to brag about that. You know, that is, just because you're able to attract things and create things like that doesn't mean your ego is completely gone. And the smaller it gets, the smaller ego gets, the more craftier and sneaky and tricky it becomes. And so it can sneak in and say, okay, look at me, I'm so powerful, look what I've created, and, you know. And true power is the ability to create the life that you want while remaining connected to your humility, not boasting, not bragging, but just continuing to live your life and empower others to live their life as well, and keep your ego out of it. So those are my thoughts on how power and humility can work together. Thanks for listening.